Hey, Rob Tapper here, University of Montana, Director of Jazz, and also trombone professor. Today, we're going to talk about the P word, practicing, and what you need to feel good about the time you spend with your instrument. First thing is, let's not call it practicing. Let's call it going to the work shed, or working out, or something that makes you feel like you're actually getting something accomplished. Practicing to me is it's just the word itself. People say you have to practice more. Practice that. It gets old and it doesn't feel good. So I try to find other things that make me feel like I want to get something accomplished. Next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we find a good space. In this day and age, being outside is the healthiest thing we can do. So if you have that opportunity, take advantage of it for sure. You might need to put a mute on so you don't bother your neighbors, but it's a great way to be outside and be productive and feel good and breathe air. If you can't be outside and you want to find a good space, find a place that you can get something accomplished that you won't be distracted. But find a space, no TV, no computer, no phone. It's going to be way more fun and you're going to be able to focus better, way better than if you keep bombarding yourself off of your focus onto those different things. And the last thing, give yourself a time frame. This perhaps is the most important thing. I would say give yourself a time frame or make sure you've got a list of specific things you want to accomplish. Don't just ever go into a room. It's not going to work very well. You might get something done, but if you say, okay, I'm going to do X in the next 15 minutes, or I'm going to do X, Y in the next half hour, you're going to find that your productivity is way better than if you just walk in the room and say, okay, I have to warm up today, or I have to do my routine, or I have to whatever it is. So give yourself a time limit, and if possible, give yourself a little checklist of the things you want to accomplish in that time. Now let's talk about definitions. There's going to be a series of these videos where I'm going to keep referring back to the same things. The first definition, like I said, I don't like the word practicing. I don't like the word metronome. It doesn't feel good. So I like to talk about making sure you are working with what we call the truth. That it will not lie, and make sure when you're working with the truth that you specifically are working with it or without it. It's an on and off situation. There shouldn't be any gray when you're doing work with the truth. You shouldn't start something in time and then try to work something out and then go back to time. It should all be, okay, I'm working this out, no time, or I'm working this out in time, whether it's slow and steady or at a quicker, more performance-based tempo. So make sure you're hanging with the truth all the time. Another thing is scales. Another word I'm not a fan of, scales. It sounds fishy, haha. We want to make sure that we're working on all of our scales, but they're also sounds. So no matter what we're working on, it's a sound. That's a sound. And I like that better than saying that's a scale. So sounds, we want to make sure that we're working on all our sounds. And when we do work on our sounds, starting out in this series, we're going to be breaking things down in what I call our happy sounds, which are our major sounds, and our sad sounds, which are our minor sounds, which you'll hear much more in the videos. So our major sound and our minor sound or our sad sound. So I'll refer to those back and forth as we go along. When you're working on something, make sure you choose your focus, whatever that may be. Now, I consider myself a decent musician, fairly intelligent, but I know I can't focus on more than a couple things at once. Some people can, but it's a really good idea when you're starting out, whether you're doing your warm-up or whether you're working on something specific, that you are choosing your focus. Most of the time, again, it's one or two things. Now, what can some of those things be? You can work on time, the truth, time. You can work on your sound. You can work on articulations. You can work on air, making sure that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing with the instrument, depending on range. We're working on groove, which is a subset of time, but also really important to make sure that you're playing with a groove by recording yourself. Also, you can be working on your mindset, going through a section of a tune or harmony or piece of music and the mindset of what you're trying to bring to that versus right notes, wrong notes, good time, bad time. That kind of mindset is a really good practice. And then finally, you can work on your harmony or your sounds, working on arpeggiations, triads, sevenths, nines, working on different sounds in thirds, fourths, fifths, whatever it may be. But pick some of those things, the fewer the better, and get a focus of your time in the worksheet. Thanks for tuning in. Enjoy this set of videos by our wonderful faculty from the University of Montana. These videos will generally be short, so you can get a lot of information in a small amount of time. And they're not just for music educators, but they're also for musicians of all levels to get you started and feeling better about what you do. So enjoy, and we'll see you next time.